Hey, what's up? John Sunmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I finally got my desk set up in my little studio sort of set up here back in my office. I still don't have really any furniture, but I did get a desk. I'm going to do a review on the desk. I got a desk from Autonomous, which is a sit-stand desk that has AI in it, so I can basically tell the desk to stand up or sit down, and it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool so far, at least. I'm going to do a review once I get a chance to use it a little bit more. I've actually got a monitor coming as well, which I'll also show you in a little bit here, or not in a little bit, I don't have the monitor yet, but once I use it a little bit, it's an ultra wide screen curved monitor. Gonna try that out. I think that's gonna work out pretty nicely. But anyway, what I want to talk to you about today is this phrase that you've probably heard before called FOMO, or fear of missing out. I think this is something that is hugely destructive, not only to your satisfaction in life, but to getting things done and actually sticking to the plan and focusing. And this is something that I definitely still struggle with. I mean, most people struggle with this, and it's kind of funny. What we call fear of missing out right now is really, I think there's a unique element to it, but it's really coveting to some degree, and that's kind of funny. So a lot of times when you see something, you know, that you want or that you feel that you're missing out on, you're actually coveting something that you don't have. And so it's kind of interesting that we call this fear of missing out. I mean, there's probably another element to this fear of missing out, but anyway, I thought I would talk about this because this is something that can be hugely destructive to you, especially when you're trying to hit a goal, you're trying to focus on something. All of a sudden something can come along and it can distract you from that goal because you're afraid of missing out. And you know, especially as an entrepreneur, right, I encounter this all the time. I've got a Trello board that is full of like hundreds of ideas, literally hundreds of ideas of what I could do with Simple Programmer. Heck, I mean, even just the Trello board that has the YouTube videos here, I've shown you in this this video I did here. You can see where I talked about, you know, I showed you the YouTube videos, the Trello board there. But anyway, there's just so many options, there's so many things to do, and you can get overwhelmed and you can get to this point where you're afraid of missing out because you can't take up all these opportunities. And sometimes when that happens, you get this temptation or this tendency to jump on all of these different things, right? You see things, you know, even just walking down the street, you know, there's 500 restaurants. Oh, what if I'm not, I gotta try that restaurant, I gotta try that thing, right? Or you go to the buffet, this is how you get fat, right? And you're like, oh, well, it's a fear of missing out. I don't wanna miss out on all this food, or I paid for the ticket price, so, you know, I don't wanna miss out on my value or my opportunity. You know, someone brings in some kind of dessert to work, and again, fear of missing out coming along. So many times you get this fear of missing out, right? You're supposed to be working on something, your buddies want to go out for some drinks, fear of missing out. So it can really hit you in a lot of different ways, and it's something that I struggle with personally. It's something that you constantly have to combat, because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to be like, oh, look, a squirrel. And you're going to get distracted and you're going to go a lot of different places. This is especially important if you tend to have, you know, ADHD type of tendencies. I did a blog post, quite a controversial one, actually, a series on kind of ADHD, and because I was technically diagnosed with it as a kid, but I don't really so much believe in it. It's weird. I have mixed thoughts on it. But anyway, you could read the blog post and you can see. But anyway, if you're impulsive, if you've got this kind of easily distracted personality, fear of missing out can really get a hold of you. And the problem with it is that there's really two big problems with the fear of missing out type of mentality. One, it distracts you from your focus, right? In order to be successful, remember, I talk about this all the time, you've got to stick to something and you've got to be committed and you've got to be consistent. You know, I would never have gotten Simple Programmer to where it is today if I was just going all over the place, if I couldn't keep writing a blog post every single week. And with this YouTube channel, if I couldn't keep on producing YouTube videos, right? Now I produce 2 YouTube videos a day, minimum. And that's hard. I've got to keep on that. I got to be committed in order to do that. But that's growing the channel. It's providing more value. It's in line with my mission, right? So fear of missing out, when you're afraid of missing out on things, what it can tend to do is distract you from the plan, because you're going down this one path, you pick this plan, and then you realize there's this other opportunity here. There's another opportunity here, right? I had to stop taking speaking engagements because I kept getting all these speaking engagements. They kept on asking me to go speak in this country, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to miss out on Bulgaria. Oh, I've never seen Turkey. Oh, I haven't gone to, Australia, right? And so I had to limit that down, because if I just let my fear of missing out take over, then, I'll be going all over the place, and I'll never actually be sitting down at my desk and getting work done. So that's the number one thing that I would say, is that you gotta block that mentality out, because if you don't, you're gonna be going all over the place. You're never gonna be sticking to your plan, and there's a real danger in that. So that's number one. Number two, I would say, with fear of missing out, is that you're just never going to be satisfied, right? Because if you're always looking for the better thing, if you're always feeling like you're missing out, then you're never going to be present in the moment in what you're actually doing. You're always going to be thinking about something else, feeling like there's somewhere else you should be, something else you should be doing, and you're never going to enjoy the moment. I talked about, I did a book review on one of Eckhart Tolle's books, but I'm going to recommend one right now called The Power of Now. Check that out. That's a good book if you have this tendency, if you're distracted, you're not in the present moment, and it's because you have this fear of missing out, because you feel like you should be doing something else all the time, right? I've gotten into this mode. It's really easy to get into this mode where when you're working, you feel like you should be playing or relaxing or doing something else, and when you're relaxing or playing or taking a break or doing something recreational, you feel like you should be working, and so you never are in the groove. You're always feeling you should be doing something else, and that's, again, it's all kind of part of this thing that I'm calling fear of missing out. And for you guys out there, this fear of missing out can also really screw you up, because you're always seeing, your eyes are tempting you. You're seeing things, and you're afraid that you're missing out, and so you're never happy, you're never satisfied, you're never focusing on your goals, you're just distracted all the time. So anyway, what would I say? I want to leave you with, I don't want to just leave you with problems here. I want to give you some kind of tips and some encouragement to sort of fight this habit. The first one is that when you have a plan, when you're going down a path, stick to the plan and stick to the path, and then realize that you can always pick another opportunity. Also get in your mind that you can never, the world is large. There's so many opportunities, there's so many things that you could be doing, and the thing that makes people successful is not picking the best, right? You don't know what the best opportunity is. You don't know where the path leads you, but it's the people that pick a path and stick to the path, because most people don't. Most people don't pick a path. They're constantly going back and forth on different paths and trying this path and that path, and they never go far enough down the path to get to where there's benefit, right? So remember that when you're tempted, when you're distracted, when you feel like you're missing out on opportunities, remember that it's more important to pick a path and go down that path than to pick from the 5,000 possible paths that are out there. The second thing I would remind you of is that most opportunities are not as fleeting as you think, right? Most of the time, someone brings cake into work, you don't need the fear of missing out to trigger, because you're an adult. You can go to the store and you can buy yourself cake, right? You can go and buy whatever sweets that you want anytime. You don't need to try this just because someone brought it in, or if you go to a buffet or something, you don't need to eat all the food. You don't need to, you don't need to worry about capitalizing on that value, because it's such a small amount of value. Instead, just remember that the world is full of opportunity. There's no need to fear missing out, because you can always make a different choice, and you can always go out there and get what you want. So anyway, I hope that will help you. This is something that I definitely struggle with. I still struggle with this. This is hard. This is something that's very challenging, right? Because there's always, especially as an entrepreneur, if you go down the entrepreneurial road, you're going to be overwhelmed by opportunities, overwhelmed by choice, and you're just going to have to pick something, and you're going to have to do it and get it done, and then move on to the next thing. And you're never going to know if it's the best choice, right? But as long as you're doing something and taking action, that is what is key. So anyway, hopefully you find this helpful, and if you have a question for me, email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com, and if you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, take care, and I will talk to you next time.